Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the public hearing for the proposed revisions to the 2020 Qualified Allocation Plan, or I would call it the QAP of the Connecticut Housing and Finance Authority. My name is Terry Nash Giovannucci. This public hearing is open and is being recorded. This public hearing is an opportunity for CHFA to receive comments, views, and opinions from anyone with an interest in proposed changes to the QAP for 2020. It is not a discussion format. If you have questions after the hearing, please email them to publiccomment@chfa.org. Public comments, all one word. Please email to publiccomment@chfa.org for a prompt response. And that includes if you have other comments that you did not make today, you send them along. All lines are open and unmuted. Please be mindful of that and unmute your own line if you need to or if there's background disturbance. Take your time, but be brief when commenting so that everyone has a chance to speak and be heard. And when making your comments, it's important to first identify yourself and your affiliation. I will now turn over this hearing to Shelley Mondo for a roll call.
Okay, we're going to start. Are there any board members present? No board members. Can I have staff identify themselves, please?
Yes, good afternoon. This is Nandini Utrajan from the Connecticut Housing Finance Authority.
This is Masuda Omar with the Connecticut Housing and Finance Authority and Multifamily.
This is Debbie Alter with the Multifamily Department at CHFA.
This is Wendy Moore with the Multifamily Department at CHFA.
Joe Valecio from CHFA's Multifamily Department.
Jennifer Landau, CHFA Multifamily.
Anyone else?
Robert Hicks, CHFA Legal.
Colette Slover, Multifamily.
Okay, I think any other staff members from CHFA?
Oh, Shelley, Terry Calderon's on the line.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start. If I could have the public identify themselves, first and last name, and then your company affiliation.
My name is Quandre Swayze with Arison Consultants.
Leonard Wyeth with Wyeth Architects.
Can we just back up for 1 minute? Would you, the first person, can you please spell your last name?
Sure, it's Swayze.
And it was Gwyneth?
Quandre is spelled Quandra.
Okay. Sorry, the next person, please.
This is
Leonard
Thomas Moore.
Wyeth.
Oh. Okay, go ahead.
Leonard Wyeth, Wyeth Architects. WYETH.
Okay.
Paul Santos, Newman Architects.
Next.
Thomas Moore with Stephen Winter Associates.
Thomas Moore. Okay.
Lois Arena with Stephen Winter Associates.
I'm sorry, Lois
Arena.
Yep.
Kate Doherty with Stephen Winter Associates.
Leanne Hanfield with Beacon.
Sorry, Leanne
Hanfield with Beacon.
Hanfield. Yep.
HAN as in Nancy, FIELD.
Okay.
Christina McPike with Wynn Companies.
I'm sorry, Christina. Can you say your last name again, please?
Or Mick Pike, M-C, P as in Peter, I-K-E.
Okay.
Victoria Yee with Stephen Winter Associates.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
Victoria Yee, Stephen Winter Associates.
Victoria
Yee, Y-E-E.
Y-E-E?
Yes.
Okay.
Peter Harding with McGran Associates.
Is that Stephen?
Peter.
Peter?
Peter, yep.
Peter. Okay.
This is Peter Millman, Eastern Connecticut Green Action.
Anyone else?
Yes, Allison Blackwelder with USGBC, U.S. Green Building Council.
Susan O'Dell with Paul Bailey Architect.
Joanna Grad from Stephen Winter Associates.
Joanna
Grad, G-R-A-D. G as in...
Hello, Alicia Dolce. Dolce is spelled D as in dog, O-L-C as in cat, E, on behalf of Connecticut Passive House and Connecticut Green Building Council.
George Penniman.
George, I'm sorry, your last name?
Penniman from Penniman Architects.
Sherry DSO, G-I-E-S-O, Bryant DSO.
Andrew Blumetti, Regions Affordable Housing.
Hi, this is Ryan Kirchhoff from Penrose. My last name is K-I-R-A-C-O-F as in Frank E.
Hi, this is Paul Keys from the Connecticut Green Building Council and from the Green Footprint LLC. It's Keys, K-E-Y-E-S.
You?
Nicole Berger, Certified Passive House Consultant. It's B-U-R-G-E-R.
Miles Monahan with the NRP Group.
Hello, Kathy Dorgan, Dorgan Architecture and Planning. Kyle.
Hi, Mark Dorilli with Construction Solutions Group.
Katie Zoppo, Z-O-P-P-O, with Stephen Winter Associates.
Sarah Holmes, H-O-L-M-E-S, at Wyeth Architects, W-Y-E-T-H, and Connecticut Passive House.
Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Peter Haberlunt from Open Communities Alliance. The last name is H-A-B as in boy, E-R-L-A, N as in Nancy, D as in dog, T as in Tom. First name Peter.
Deborah Hall from New Ecology, H-A-L-L.
And Thatcher Tiffany from Beacon Community.
Katie Wheeler from NRP Group.
It was Wheeler.
Yes. W-H-E-E-L-E-R.
This is Kristen Anderson from the Community Builders.
And also Rachna Crowley from the Community Builders.
I'm sorry, your first name, please?
Rachna, R-A-C-H-A-N-A.
And your last name?
Crowley.
Crowley. Thank you. Anyone else?
Susan Myers from Centerbrook Architects.
Sorry, Susan.
YSWYETH.
And anyone else? Okay, so the next order of the agenda is to receive public comments. We're going to try to do this in alphabetical order, so I'm going to say your name, and if you don't have a comment, just say no comment. And at the end, I'll give you an opportunity if I didn't get your name. Lois Arena.
Yes, here.
Do you have a comment?
Okay, so I do. Please. My concern is that the statistics show from the reports I've read that utility prices are outstripping the increase in wages of our affordable housing communities that lives in those buildings. And so their cost burden for utilities, it gets extraordinarily high the longer we go into the future at this rate. And so passive house is one of those measures that helps to ensure to keep their utility bills and their burden for utility costs down. And so I would really encourage the committee to give those extra points to passive house so that more affordable housing are built to that level of efficiency.
Thank you. Mark O'Reilly?
No public comment. Thank you.
Kristen Anderson?
No public comment at this time. We'll submit written testimony.
Thank you. Andrea Maddie?
No comment.
Allison Blackwelder?
Yes, thank you. We do intend on submitting a written comment before the comment deadline, but I wanted to speak on behalf of the U.S. Green Building Council in terms of the proposed draft by the Connecticut Housing Finance Authority, who is appreciation for you all to include competitive points for LEED for Homes and LEED Multifamily Mid-Rise certification in the Sustainable Design Features section. We feel like LEED definitely supports the authority's goals in terms of considering resident health and comfort, as well as energy and water efficiency and indoor environmental quality aspects. So we will submit more detailed comments in written form, but wanted to extend the appreciation for you all, including that in the proposed draft. Thank you.
Thank you. Roshana Crowley?
No comment at this time. Thank you.
Kathy Dorgan?
Hi, all. I was hoping at the hearing or in the follow-up that somebody could explain the reason for the changes that are proposed. That's it.
Okay, we're going to move on.
Hi, Kathy. This is Terry. I just wanted to mention that any questions we will be happy to respond to by email or discussion after this hearing, but typically during the public hearing, we're just receiving comments and views. I know there's a lot of, open questions. We're happy to have different conversations, but not at this time.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Kate Dougherty?
Hi, how are you? Thank you. Stephen Winter Associates, we really encourage the committee to give points for passive house. Building to this level of resiliency will just be very important in changing climates, and overall will promote long-term savings for both owners and tenants going forward. So we would hope that that is taken into consideration.
Thank you. Alicia Dolce.
Hi, thank you. And I'm hoping that you can hear me because I know there were some special prompts to mute and unmute ourselves. So can you confirm that you can hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, great. And then thank you, because then I'll mute myself after. Thank you for this opportunity to comment. I want to share a few things, and one of them is based on my sort of unique positions to interact with a lot of different people. One of the main concerns, first of all, I just want to share up front that the amount of emails and calls that I have been receiving expressing concerns about the proposed changes in the 2020 QAP has far exceeded any level of feedback I've received to date in other, multiple public comment cycles. And so that was noteworthy to me, and I share that with all of you because I just think it's important to note. One of the main concerns that I've been hearing from people, and I share as well, is just surprised and kind of puzzled by the extent of the proposed changes. Specifically, the overall point reduction for sustainable design is alarming, and it seems to send the wrong signal to the market. I share the opinion with many others I've heard from that the proposed QAP just seems to be out of lockstep with the direction that the rest of the state is heading in terms of an emphasis on sustainability in the built environment. Furthermore, the structure of the point allocations is also alarming because since many of the points are being offered for standards that just do not deliver comparable levels of positive impact relative to rigorous energy efficient standards, which is what either passive house and or a zero energy or a zero carbon building delivers. The reason for this concern is really simple. In order to meet Connecticut's mandated reductions in greenhouse gas emissions by both 2030 and 2050, there are two different benchmarks we need to meet, plus other criteria from the governor's executive orders, all new construction being built today is going to be around in 2050. So it just must be built to these higher performance standards. And I think, given the reality of the QAP process, we all know that unless points are offered commensurate with higher levels of performance, these projects will just not be pursued because the competition for funding is too fierce. On that note, I want to also address a concern that I have heard directly from CHAFA about the cost of high-performance projects. And I'm here to say that other states are building affordable multifamily housing to passive house standards without experiencing dramatic cost premiums. Or even in the case of Pennsylvania, sometimes these projects are coming for or costing less than passive house projects. So at this point in time, the issue is not the passive house standard. I have two strong theories as to what may be the reasons behind the dramatic cost creep that CHAFA has seen to date, but this is not the forum to delve into that. But what I am suggesting is an opportunity to create further dialogue with CHAFA and Department of Housing to identify best practices from a design, project development, and process standpoint. Connecticut is fortunate. We have a really deep bench of professionals and practitioners who could work with CHAFA and DOH. Many of them are on this call to advise on these issues, and I really want to issue an invitation to collaborate on convening a task force of this nature. And finally, I want to close by revisiting something that Lois Arenas said at the start of this public comment period. I'm really fortunate. I live in a zero energy passive house. So when someone talks about the benefits of building housing that provides energy security to vulnerable populations, it's really personal for me. My current utility bill was $9.37, and my prior month was $38. So, this is real. This is proof of concept. This is not theoretical. And it would just speaks volumes about the benefit of being able to offer or build housing that truly provides energy security to people. Thank you again for this opportunity. I too will be submitting detailed comments, and I just appreciate the opportunity to participate in this process.
Thank you for your comments. Moving on, Jerry Iso.
Sherry, Sherridso. I concur with what Alicia and Kate have said, and I'm also on the Connecticut Passive House and Connecticut Green Building Council boards, and I'd like to add that I don't understand why the points are being reduced, especially based on the goals of the state, but through either of our organizations and many others, there are ample opportunities to learn about what Passive House is. And there are just so many offerings for people that are maybe possibly afraid of delving into this supposed new, type of construction and design. So I will be submitting documentation, and will outline some upcoming educational opportunities as I have in the past. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Joanna Grad.
Hi. So based on some of the recent research that our team has done, multifamily passive house buildings in New York City are showing significantly lower energy use when compared to lender assumptions. That's 40 to 79% reduction. So it's really big and hugely impactful, especially to the multifamily sector. And for the utility costs that are paid both by owners and by tenants. And we know that's really important to CHAP and the projects that you fund. So we're recommending to continue stimulating energy efficiency. And like Alicia said, building to high standards is really important. And one way to do this is to retain the additive structure of the 2019 QAP. And I'll be sending a written statement to you guys to detail a pathway. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter Haberland?
No comments at this time.
Thank you. Deborah Hall? Deborah Hall?
Yes. Hello. This is. Oh, sorry. This is Deborah Hall. I was on mute. We will be submitting written comment, but I wanted to confirm the points made by others about the operating costs, the health, the climate impact of greenhouse gas emissions, as well as the resilience to climate change that Passive House can provide, and mostly because we are both a nonprofit advocate of green building and energy efficiency, and because we do work with certain clients working on these kind of proposals, we're very practical about wanting to see Passive House offered enough points so that it will make it well to advance it. Because right now the point system is very confusing in the way that it's presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Leanne Hanfield.
Sure. Hi. Leanne Hanfield from Beacon, and I just would like to first thank the administration and the staff for your desire to improve upon the QAP. We appreciate this opportunity to provide comment. I do have a few, and I will try to be brief. I'll start. I'd like to echo the comments that have been made on the sustainable design changes. I think we appreciate the intention of providing options in order for projects to receive recognition for any sustainable design measures, but it's important to still recognize the different measures involve different complexity and cost, and especially for deals that are well on their way to preparing a 2020 application at this time. To that end, we'd like to see, maybe to expand upon the options that are presented on a scale that would put the most points on Passive House, representing the most points for the most effort and the greatest environmental impact. On the reduction of points for 90% plans, again, while that might be an attempt to sort of lower the threshold in terms of making an application, many projects in the pipeline today that are gearing up for the 2020 rounds are well on their way to achieving this threshold and have put forth the effort to engage a full design team for that purpose. This category also assures better certainty around cost and readiness, which really ensure less risk to the public investment if an award is received. So that would also suggest it's an important category. And we would recommend that these points remain in place for at least the 2020 round in recognition of the projects that are already engaged in hitting this threshold. On the $1.5 million LIHTC cap, the State Department of Housing has already reduced its commitment from $6 million to $4 million, which puts an additional strain on deals to be smaller. And that has the potential to, again, make deals that are already in process financially and feasible. It also would encourage smaller deals, which really are less effective from a development standpoint, but more importantly, from a long-term management perspective. And we would request that the 20% of the credit ceiling remain in place. And even the 20% cap limits, deals to 50 to 70 units already, which is somewhat inefficient. On the state-sponsored housing portfolio cap, the proposed change added a $1.2 million cap in order to receive those points. That portfolio represents a predetermined portfolio, some of which are much larger projects, and the size is already determined, and that cap would then preclude them from securing those points. A cap in that category creates a competitive disadvantage for these aged projects, which arguably have the highest needs and the largest scale based on their age and status of disrepair. On the hybrid financing proposal, we found, and in our experience in neighboring states, including Massachusetts, that the hybrid financing structure doesn't need to be bound by physical constraints. And really the risk that's attempting to be addressed here feels like one of IRS compliance, which could really be addressed between tax counsel and the developer, and could require a letter confirming that the compliance can be met even in the utilization of both 9% and 4% credit. And then last but not least, in general, we would just like to see that to the extent there's going to be an anticipated overhaul or big changes to a 2021 QAP, we'd like to have them issued in the very near future, well in advance of next year's round, so the deals can really be framed and progress in accordance with those changes rather than a few months before the round. We're really engaged now in planning deals for next year, so the sooner the better. Thank you again for the opportunity to comment, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you. Can I remind everybody, if you're not speaking, to just mute yourself, please? Ida Harding?
Yeah, we will be submitting written comments, but I would like to just say support for the comments made on the sustainable design measures, and also the point by the last speaker on the importance of getting these standards finalized and out much sooner. The lengthy design cycles mean that people are having to make decisions on how to approach the LIHTC round without any good information on what they should be designing to. So the faster that CHFA can reach a final decision on this QAP and provide earlier information in the future would be greatly appreciated by everybody.
Thank you. Sarah Holmes?
Hi, I'm an architect and certified Passive House designer, and I'm on the board of Connecticut Passive House. First, thank you for the opportunity to comment. I am strongly in favor of maintaining the incentive points for Passive House in the 2020 QAP to encourage high-quality buildings for the sector of the population who would most benefit from affordable utilities and healthy buildings. Passive House buildings align with the state's ambitious energy goals concerning climate change and state housing goals. This level of high-performance building should be encouraged and rewarded. I will be, excuse me, I will be submitting an email asking why these changes have been proposed, and I will also submit written testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Keyes.
Hi, yes, thank you for the opportunity to address you folks, and I just want to preface some of my statements by saying that, you know, Connecticut and Hawaii are two of the largest, have the highest cost of utility, especially electric costs in the entire nation. And so by that virtue alone, we should certainly be driving towards higher building performance standards. I would also like to say that I have a question, and that my question is, have other housing advocates and organizations been cued about these changes? The reason I ask this question is because depending on where the project is being built, a large percentage of the occupants are people of color who will bear the stranded costs of these projects if not built to higher standards. So, you know, I'm really concerned about that because, again, I think that, you know, what we're really striving for in Connecticut is fair, equitable, and affordable housing, and that starts with more stringent green building standards. And I will, too, be submitting some testimony in writing.
Thank you. Moving on to Ryan Carapo.
No public comment at this time. We'll be submitting in writing. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina McPike.
No public comments at this time. Thank you.
Miles Monahan.
No public comments at this time.
Thomas Moore.
Hi, everyone. This is Thomas. I'm a Pass House consultant at Stephen Winter Associates. You've heard a number of my colleagues comment already, but I'd like to just echo their points. I personally work on a number of large multifamily Pass House projects in Connecticut. Most of these projects are affordable housing. And, you know, we know, I think a lot of people on this call know that Pass House is a highly rigorous performance program, and there's also a considerable overlap between energy conservation and affordability. These Pass House buildings that we design, you know, they do cut down energy consumption by 50 to 70% overall, which helps with long-term utility costs and affordability for vulnerable populations. And then, you know, some of the other benefits of this highly robust program are the thermal comfort aspects and the indoor air quality aspects. And my concerns with the change to QAP are really simple. I'm just concerned that in the revised version of the QAP, the Pass House is being incentivized at a similar level to other green building programs and design standards. And my recommendation is simple, that we return to the 2019 structure where Pass House has additional points allotted or can be awarded, and we continue to maintain that incentive for the Pass House design standard. Thanks for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you. Peter Nealman.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity to comment. I wanted to bring a slightly different perspective. I live in Mansfield, which last year decided to build its new school as a net zero school, and it will be the first net zero public school in Connecticut. A nearby city of Manchester is going to be doing major renovations on 3 new schools, and they are aiming to build to a net zero energy standard. And this is notable because school building committees are notoriously fiscally responsible. They really have to pay attention to every penny. And other school districts are also looking at the net zero standard. And the reason is simple, that they want healthier environments for their kids, and they want buildings that are cheaper to run. One of the reasons that I felt confident to go before the school committee here in Mansfield early last year, and urge them to move to building a net zero school, is that I went to 2 Eversource conferences on net zero buildings for commercial and industrial projects. And of course, Eversource is not a notoriously tree-hugging kind of company. but they are really interested in promoting net zero building. One of the things that caught my attention most was a graph put up by an engineer whose name is Tony Hans from the engineering firm CMTA, which has 6 offices in the eastern part of the United States. And he showed a graph showing how over the past 10 years, the cost differential between building net zero and more conventional buildings has been declining steadily. And he said that at this point, he tells his clients that the difference between a net zero building cost, initial investment, and a more conventional building is very little and sometimes no difference at all. And you all probably know that, to put this, to oversimplify, the point is that by squeezing down the use of energy by a building, used in a building, you spend an awful lot less on HVAC equipment, and hence there's more money available for tightening up the envelope, more insulation, and taking other measures. So I would urge you to strengthen and not to weaken CHFA's commitment to energy efficiency, sustainable building, so that the residents of your buildings have healthier buildings and cheaper operating costs, less operating costs. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan O'Dell?
No public comments. I will be submitting written comments.
Thank you. George Penniman? Paul Santos?
Hello. Hi. No public comment at this time.
Okay.
Sorry, George Penniman.
Oh, okay. We'll go back.
I'm sorry. I was muted.
Okay.
I just wanted to follow up on Mr. Millman's comment about net zero and reiterate the fact that the quickest way to get to net zero is through passive house standard. And our state has made some very ambitious and laudable goals for what we hope to achieve by 2030 and 2050. So it seems counterintuitive that the Housing Authority would seek to weaken standards that will help us get to that point. And I will be submitting written testimony as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Quandra Swayze?
Hi, I'm just going to, I plan to submit some written comments, so no public comments at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tiffany Thatcher?
No comment at this time. Leanne Hanfield spoke for Beacon. Thanks.
Katie Wheeler?
No comment at this time.
Leonard Wyeth?
Thanks for asking. I'd like to urge to strengthen the incentives, not to weaken them. I mean, the previous structure of the point system, to us anyway, made really good sense. It encouraged the efficiency and sustainability that's in keeping with Connecticut's 2030 and 2050 goals. At any rate, strongly encourage maintaining the possibility of zero energy ready and passive house it might be a typo, but as a 5-point item, simply for the long-term maintenance, health, and ease of use for both the owner and occupant. Thank you.
Susan Wyeth?
No comment at this time. I'll submit written testimony. Thank you.
Victoria Yee? Katie Zappo?
Yes, so thank you for letting me comment. This is for Stephen Winter Associates, and I'm also on the board of Connecticut Passive House. We encourage SHAFA to at least retain the 2019 QAP point structure in regard to the sustainable design measures. I'll also echo what everyone else, or most everyone else has said. The lower energy use and cost to the owners and tenants and the health benefits to occupants in passive house buildings will be very useful for the affordable community. I'll also be submitting a written statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Berger? Is there anyone who joined after we started that would like to submit a comment?
I would.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, can you just please state your name and your affiliation, please?
Yes, my name is Karen Patriquin, Patriquin Architects.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to comment. I just want to echo what other people have said, both from the point of view of occupants, for health of occupants, and affordability of utilities, and also to really encourage CHFA, who really is a leader in Connecticut, and other housing finance authorities in other states are really leaders in setting standards for building performance, resiliency, and sustainability. And whatever CHFA does end up trickling to other types of projects. So I would really encourage CHFA to be a leader in this, to keep the passive house as a standard that assures that there is accountability, that is certification, and also to encourage net zero, knowing that passive house is probably the best way to achieve this. Thank you.
Anyone else who joined late?
Hi, this is Melissa Kopp from Peary Associates Architects in New Haven and the Connecticut Green Building Council. I'd like to say, first of all, that I do appreciate that CHFA is thinking about including more comprehensive sustainable rating systems as part of the sustainable design measures. Because beyond just energy efficiency is we need to meet our climate goals. So energy efficiency is super important. But I believe the way that this could be achieved is by having them be not grouped together the way that the current structure is proposed, but by using the more cumulative point process that was used in the previous QAP, where there's a separate track for comprehensive sustainability standards versus energy efficiency measures, so that, passive house, you get an additional this many points to achieve passive house. And I think that the progress that's been made in the last few years with passive house, affordable housing projects just shows the success of that QAP, and I think we want to continue that, but I don't think that it's equivalent to the other rating system it's currently grouped with in the current structure of the QAP. And I'll also talk about zero energy as well. I think that at this point in time that every project funded by CHFA should be targeting zero energy, because within 10 years, if it's not, it will be rendered obsolete. And the reduced cost of operation, the increased health. And I also think that in addition to the comprehensive sustainability rating systems that are currently referenced, that CHFA should consider including health and well-being standards such as Fit Well and Well, but that they should be allocated separate points so that they're not so that equivalent systems non-equivalent systems don't receive the same amount of points. That's my statement.
Thank you. Anyone
Hi,
else?
this is Victoria Yee, Passive House Analyst at Stephen Winter Associates. As my colleagues have stated, we urge CHFA to retain the sustainable design measure credits of the 2019 QAP. Passive house buildings save at least 50 to 70% of energy, require less maintenance, and are much more resilient than code buildings. These lead to cost savings for both owners and tenants and support the state's commitment to affordable housing. We also wanted to highlight that they lead to health benefits and savings in health-related costs. Considering we all spend over 90% of our time indoors, let alone during a public health crisis, it's especially critical that we continue to encourage the development of passive houses for improved indoor air quality and comfort. Again, we recommend that CHFA continue to stimulate energy efficiency, and we'll be sending written statements in detail. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? As indicated earlier, everyone is encouraged to provide written statements or to email publiccomment@chfa.org no later than close of business on July 6th. Terry, do you have any closing remarks?
I do not. Again, we do welcome comments, and if we will stay open for another 5 minutes or so to make sure we've gotten everyone's, and if we have no further, then we will close the meeting.
Can I just ask if we have a question, do we email the same address?
Yes, that works perfectly because I monitor that every day. So we'll be able to respond quickly, and if it's not me that has the answer, I'll be able to provide it, to the appropriate person so we can get back to you immediately.
Thanks very much.
Sure. I want to thank everyone for participating. It's very meaningful to have a lot of comments on work that we're doing. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.